Hey, family, TACC, man, how's your spirit? Talk to me. Tell me something good. I apologize for last night. Sometime when Johnny go on, I just gotta let him rock. You know what I mean? He be reliving, the past. Sometimes it's good. So that's why I let him rock. But the topic was uh, why we must live our lives forward instead of backwards. That's the topic. And the reason why I say that, a lot of times we just want instant gratification, but it's not about that. It's about going through your adversities, making the change you need to make in your life to get to where you need to get in your life. And it's only through your adversity change takes place. You got to go through it to get to it. So this is the thing. But I'm going to give you all 50 insightful questions, answers, and examples of why we must go live our life forward instead of backwards. So here we go. One, if I keep playing my breakup, what am I missing? Answer. You're missing the blessing of freedom to find someone aligned with who you are right now. Example, you dwell on your ex betrayal for 2 years. Only when you stop replaying do you realize the departure made room for your current partner who actually supports your dreams. Just think about that. Number two, what lesson do I miss when I obsessed over a job I was fired from? And this program is called TAG. This is the logo here. This is one of the logos. Through adversity comes change. Check it out. Um, and I'm showing you that why it's so important to live our lives forward instead of backwards. So we can get the lessons, the blessings, and I'm taking you through why with different questions, examples, and answers. So the answer is you missed the lesson. That role was shrinking you, and the firing was the push you to need to grow. Example, you spent months bitter. When you finally look forward, you see that that job was teaching you toxic reliance, not real skill. Your new career uses your actual talents. Every time God takes you through something, He puts you through something that's better for you. Just gotta know. Like the second principle, wherever you're at in life, He put you there because He's driving the car and He makes no mistakes. And you must take the responsibility that maybe it's something that you did that got you there, no matter what it was. It's to better you. Number three, if I keep asking why me about my illness, what blessings escapes me? Answer. The blessing of slowing down and noticing who truly shows up for you. Example, you rage at your diagnosis for a year. Forward, you realize it weeded out fair weather friends and deepened your bond with your siblings who became your anchor. Just think about that. Number four, what lesson is hidden in my bankruptcy? Answer, the lesson that your worth was never your net worth. And now you know how to build with integrity. Example, looking backward, you see only shame. Looking forward, you see that bankruptcy taught you financial literacy and humility, which makes you a wiser entrepreneur now. Just think about it. And this is why you must go through your adversities and not shrink them and try to go around them and shortcut. Because all that is going to leave you short. That's all it's going to do. It's going to leave you short. Take it from me. Shortcut king. And look where I'm at. Starting over at 61 with nothing but God, which is the greatest thing. And with God, I can do anything. And this is why I do what I do. So I know he got my back, you know. But yeah, this is my mission to help us to learn, to understand, to be able to deal with life's pressures because we're going to always have them. We're black, we're brown, we're yellow, you know, we're white, you know. Number 5, if I dwell on my parents' divorce, what blessings do I miss? The blessings of understanding that love isn't about staying, it's about choosing. You learn to choose better. Example, you spend decades angry, forward. You realize that the split taught you to spot incompatibility early, saving you from bad marriage on your own. Let's think about it. This is why we must live our lives forward instead of backwards. 6, what lesson do I miss when I regret not going to college? Answer, you missed the lesson that self-education and experience often beat formal degrees and you've been learning all along. Example, you mourn the diploma, forward. You see your hands-on work history gave you practical wisdom that college grads lack, making you more employable. So these are lessons that you had to go through. And if you didn't go through them, you went to college, you wouldn't have had those skills. 7, if I keep thinking about the child I couldn't have, what blessings is hidden? Answer, the blessing of pouring your maternal, paternal energy into others who desperately needed it. Example, you cry over infertility for years. Forward, you become a foster parent to teens no one wanted and realize they were your children all along. Think about it. God has a way of teaching us, and you have to go through your adversities to make the change you need to make in your life. Number 8, what lesson is my friend's betrayal? Excuse me. Let me say that again. What lesson is in my friend's betrayal? Answer, the lesson is that loyalty is rare. And now you know how to be that rare friend yourself. Example, you obsess over their lives. Forward, you become fiercely protective of your remaining friendships, deepening them to a level you never had before. Number 9, if I dwell on my physical scar, what blessings am I missing? Answer, the blessings that your body is still here, still fighting, and the scar tells a story of survival. That's me. Example, you hide it for years. Forward, you share your story publicly and inspire others with similar scars to feel beautiful. This is the wonders of God, man. Just going through life and seeing life in the right perspective, in the right mindset, man. It's a beautiful thing. 10, what lessons do I miss when I regret my wild 20s? Answer, you missed that those wasted years gave you street smarts, resilience, and stories that connect you to real people. Example, you wish you studied harder. Forward, you realize your chaotic past makes you the only therapist your troubled teen client actually trusts. Life experiences, going through adversities to make the change. I made a perfect Fred Williamson joint. Fred Williamson used to be in the movies. He used to have a cigar like this. This blunt's perfect. If I keep asking, number 11, what if I'd say yes? What blessings escapes? Answer: the blessing that no protected, no, the blessing that no protected you from a path that wasn't yours. And this path is, example, you wonder about the job you turned down. Forward, you see that rejection led you to start your own business, which you never have done otherwise. See why it's so important to go through your adversities, and live your life forward instead of taking the shortcuts. You learn so much in the adversity. Your adversities is a lesson, but it can also be a blessing if how you look at it. It's up to you. 12. What lesson hides in my abusive relationship? Answer: the lesson of rock solid boundaries. You now know exactly what you will never tolerate again. And before I say the example, I not tell you this all the time. A lot of people get stuck in their past. Your past is only a measuring stick for the things that you like today and the things you don't like. And the things you don't like, you build boundaries. And the people who respect your boundaries is the people you keep in your life. And the people who don't respect your boundaries, those are the people you let go. And it's going to be the people you love the most. So be prepared for heartache, but you get over it. Nothing lasts forever. Example: you replay the abuse. Forward, you become a boundary coach for other women, turning your pain into their protection, or men. 13. If I dwell on my parents' poverty, what blessings do I miss? Answer: the blessing of resourcefulness. You learn to make something from nothing, a skill that wealthy never develop. Example: you resent your childhood. Forward, you become a financial planner for low income families because you actually understand their struggle. And see, this is why I say we must live our lives forward, because everything you learn in that, if you didn't go through it, you wouldn't have that skill, that life experience to be able to deal with the tough parts of life that a lot of people can't. And then once you learn this is when you help others. This is what's all about: helping everyone accept, achieve, and appreciate love. You have to go through it to get to it. And the ones who go through it, it's your job to help others. And this is why I say I feel guilty of all of the stuff that I've done as a youth, in those streets. I sold a lot of drugs. I fucked a lot of people's lives up. And this is why my mission is to help heal. you know, and I paid my debt to society with the 28 years I did. But this is something that I need to do for me, for my heart, for my soul, to help others to heal and live a best life that they ever could. And it comes in time. 14. What lesson is in my public failure? Answer: the lesson that failure is the best teacher. And now you know how exactly what doesn't work. Just think about that. Your adversities are your lessons to get you to your blessings, but they can also be your blessing. Example: you cringe at your failed startup. Forward, you consult for other founders, saving them from your exact mistakes. And you know what's crazy about that? You can make money doing that. So it's not a failure. It's only how you look at it. You see what I'm saying? When you look at life in a positive light, everything that God puts you through, it's a lesson and a blessing. And there's something in there for you. You just got to find it. 15. If I obsess over being cheated on, what blessing am I missing? Answer: the blessing of self-trust. You now know you can survive betrayal, so you fear nothing. Example: you spiral for months. Forward, you realize the cheating freed you from a liar, and your new single life is actually peaceful. It's all how you look at it. 16. What lesson do I miss when I regret moving cities? Answer. You miss that the move forced you to become independent. You built yourself from scratch. Example. You wish you could stay at home. Forward. You see your new city gave you confidence, new skills, and a network you never have found. You never would have found. 17. And excuse me, cause I tell you I'm dyslexic, so sometimes I see words backwards. And I'm smoking this shit, so it don't make it no better. Cause this is fire. 17. If I keep thinking about the promotion I didn't get, what blessing escapes? Ooh. Answer. The blessing that staying in that higher role would have burnt you out. And then this let you pivot. Example. You stew for a year forward. You take a different road with better work life balance and realize you're happier than your promoted colleagues. You see what I'm saying? God don't make mistakes. We do. And when you pay attention, you'll get it. 18. What lesson is in my parents' death? Answer. The lesson that love doesn't end, it transforms. You now carry them forward by living their values. Deep, real deep. Example, you grieve backward for years. Forward, you start a tradition they loved, keeping them alive in action, not memory. 19. If I dwell on being bullied, what blessings do I miss? Answer. The blessings of deep empathy. You now see pain in others instantly and can help them. Example, you replay the taunts. Forward, you become a school counselor, stopping bullying for the next generation. Through adversity comes change. And before I go any further, this is the book. You can get it on Amazon. My website will be up hopefully in the next few days, where you get all that on my website. My modules that's on Gumroad, and my workbook. Through adversity comes change. It's my workbook. And so you know it's me plus my pictures on the back. Bam. So, I'm working, trying to get it right. Number 20. What lesson hides in my miscarriage? Answer. The lesson that life is fragile. And now you don't waste a single day on trivial fights. Example. You mourn the loss. Forward. You appreciate your living children with a ferocity you never had before. 21. If I obsess over my ex new partner, what blessing am I missing? Answer. The blessing that you are no longer tied to someone who could replace you so fast. That's their karma, not yours. Example, you compare yourself endlessly. Forward, you stop checking and realize you've regained your time, energy, and dignity. And that goes both ways. 22. What lesson do I miss when I regret not being braver? The answer. You miss that every cowardly moment taught you what fear feels like. So now you recognize it and act anyway. Example, you beat yourself up. Forward. You use that memory as a trigger. Next time fear appears, you charge forward because you remember the regret. 23. If I dwell on being overlooked, what blessing escapes? And I use real life answers, questions, and examples for regular everyday people. So we can all understand, and it's not a mystery of what I'm talking about. The blessing of invisibility. You got to work in peace, built quietly, and emerge stronger without scrutiny. Example, you resent being passed over. Forward, you publish your work independently and because you had no spotlight, you had no critics. 24. What lesson is in my debt? Answer, the lesson that money is a tool, not a God, and now you know how to respect it. Example, you panic over bills. Forward, you create a strict budget, pay it off slowly, and become the most financially disciplined person you know. Simple. 25. If I keep thinking about the house I lost, what blessing do I miss? Hey, hey, Ark, KFC, how you doing, my brother? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on. Okay, back to if I keep thinking about the house I lost, what the blessing do I miss? Answer, the blessing is mobility. You aren't tied to a mortgage, so you can chase opportunities anywhere. Answer, no, example, you mourn your old kitchen. Forward, you rent a small place in a new city and land a dream job that never existed near your old house. Think about it. 26. What lesson hides in my addiction? Answer, the lesson that you have a shadow, and integrating it makes you whole, not broken. Example, you shame yourself. Forward, you become a recovery sponsor using your story to pull others out of the pit. 27. If I dwell on my weight gain, what blessing am I missing? Answer, the blessing that your body carried you through stress, and now you can nourish it with kindness, not punishment. Sometimes we're our own worst critics, most of the time. Example, you hate your reflection. Forward, you start walking daily for joy, not weight loss, and the pounds drop naturally as a side effect. 28. What lessons do I miss when I regret my shyness? Answer, you miss that shyness made you a great listener, and listeners become trusted leaders. Example, you wish you were louder. Forward, your quiet nature makes you the mediator everyone comes to in crisis. Everything God puts you through is for a reason. Just got to embrace it. And this is why I say if you ain't get shit out, spit out, or swallow, you're one in 5 billion or 1 billion or however many billion sperm cells it made. You beat them all. You have a purpose. Find your purpose. And life is easy after that. 29. If I obsess over my sibling's success, what blessings escape? I started to say something, but I'm gonna go with this. Answer, the blessing that your path is uniquely yours. Comparison steals joy, but forward vision creates it. Stay in your lane. Example, you envy their salary. Forward, You stop looking at their life and build your own craft, which brings you deeper fulfillment than money. It's about you. 30. What lesson is in my car accident? Answer. The lesson that life can end in an instant. So every day forward it, bonus time. No, every day forward is bonus time. My bad. Example, you replay the crash. Forward, you quit your soul crushing job and start painting because you now know time is precious. 31. If I dwell on being misunderstood, what blessings do I miss? Answer. The blessings that you only need to understand yourself. Others' opinions are noise. Example, you try to explain yourself endlessly. Forward, you stop justifying and just live. And people finally start to see you clearly. Period. Just be you. 32. What lesson hides in pet's death? Answer. The lesson that pure love is temporary and that makes it sacred, not sad. Example. You grieve for a year. Forward. You adopt a senior pet no one wants, honoring your lost one by saving another. Answer. 33. If I keep thinking about the trip I canceled, what blessing escapes? Answer. The blessing that staying home gave you rest you desperately needed and maybe saved you from a disaster. Example. You regret the missed vacation. Forward. You learned the flight had severe turbulence and you're grateful for your quiet week. So you never know. 34. What lessons do I miss when I regret my divorce? Answer. You miss that divorce is not failure. It's a graduation from a classroom you've outgrown. Example. You call yourself a failure. Forward. You realize you've learned exactly what you won't settle for, making your next relationship exponentially healthier. I couldn't have said it no better. 35. If I dwell on my hearing loss, what blessing am I missing? The blessing of silence. You now hear your own inner voice more clearly than ever. Example, you mourn the music. Forward, you learn sign language and find a deaf community that feels more like home than any hearing group. If you get lemons, make lemonade. Get oranges, make orange juice. Simple. 36. What lesson is in my business partner's betrayal? Answer. The lesson that solo work is powerful. You don't need a partner to be whole. Example. You rage at their theft. Forward. You rebuild alone and realize you make faster decisions and keep all the profit. 37. If I obsess over not having kids, what blessings escape? Answer. The blessing of freedom to mentor, travel, create, and serve in ways parents cannot. Example, you feel empty. Forward. You start a non-profit for unprivileged teens and impact 100 children instead of raising two. Which one is better? 38. What lesson hides in the skin condition? Answer. The lesson that beauty is confidence, not complexion. And you teach that by showing up anyway. And you teach it by showing up anyway. Example, you hide indoors. Forward, you go out barefaced and inspire others with visible differences to stop hiding. 39. If I dwell on being ghosted, what blessings do I miss? Answer. The blessing that they remove themselves, saving you from doing the hard work of leaving them. Example, you obsessed over their silence. Forward, you realize their disappearance was a gift of time you now pour into yourself. 40. What lessons do I miss when I regret my military service trauma? Answer, you miss that your trauma gave you hyper vigilance, which channeled forward becomes protection for others. Example, you suffer PTSD in silence. Forward, you become a veterans advocate, using your hyper awareness to spot and risk vets before they crash. 41. If I keep thinking about the award I lost, what blessing escapes? Answer, the blessing that losing taught you humility, and humility makes you approachable and beloved. Example, you bitter over the loss. Forward, you mentor the winner, and they credit you for their next award. See, in life, right? It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And if you're a good winner, you have to be able to be a good loser. It's the other side of the coin. You know, you can be mad at yourself, but you can't be a poor sport, because then people won't want to deal with you. And this is why I said we must live our lives forward, play it out, let it play all the way out, so you can get every aspect of that which you went through. You see? 42. What lesson is in my racial discrimination? Answer, the lesson that your identity is your power, and you now lead with this unapologetically. Example, you internalize the hate. Forward, you start diversity initiative that changes your entire industry. 43. If I dwell on my ex moving on fast, what blessing am I missing? Answer, the blessing that you dodge someone with no emotional depth. You get to heal properly. Example, you compare timelines. Forward, you take 2 years to heal and enter a new relationship whole while they repeat their patterns. 44. What lesson hides in my home fire? Answer, the lesson that stuffs is just stuff, and you are freer with less. Example, you mourn your possessions. Forward, you live minimally and realize you spend less time cleaning and more time living. 45. If I obsess over my speech impediment, what blessing escapes? Answer, the blessing that you speak slowly and deliberately, so people actually listen to your words. Example, you avoid talking. Forward, you become a public speaker on perseverance, and your pace makes every word land. 46. What lesson do I miss when I regret not marrying young? Answer, you miss that waiting gave you self-knowledge, so your eventual marriage is chosen, not accidental. Example, you feel behind. Forward, you marry at 40 and have a partnership so solid it makes your friends early marriages look shallow. 47. If I dwell on my student loan debt, what blessings do I miss? Answer, the blessing that you value education so much you invested in it, and now you're the first in your family to graduate. Example, you stress the balance. Forward, you pay it off and use the story to motivate your kids breaking the cycle. 48. What lesson is in my chronic pain? Answer, the lesson that rest is productive, and you now give yourself permission to stop. Example, you push through pain. Forward, you pace yourself, discover meditation, and find peace you've never known in constant doing. 49. If I keep thinking about the friend who died too young, what blessing escapes? The blessings that you get to live for two. So, okay, let me say it again. The blessing that you get to live for two. So every joy you experience is double. Example, you grieve endlessly forward. You take the trip you both plan and you feel them with you the whole way through. And 50, what is the single biggest blessing I miss when I live backwards? You miss the blessing of becoming the person you are right now. Is the direct result of every hard thing. The person is wiser, softer, fiercer, and they exist only because you walked through the fire. Looking backwards blinds you to who you already are. Example, you spend decades wishing you'd had an easier life. One day, your younger colleague asks, how are you so calm in the crisis? And you realize the hard road made you the person everyone leans on. That's the blessing. And you have missed it entirely if you kept looking back. The lesson is always in the wound, but you can only read it from the other side of the wound. Looking backward keeps the wound open. Living forward lets it scar. The scar are stronger than skin. And see, this is why I tell you, we must live our lives forward. We can't try to shortcut life, and I did that my whole life. And it has me to whereas, of course, before everything that was bad was good and everything good was bad. Now I no longer feel good doing wrong. So I don't do it. I don't do it. No longer do I look at things the way I looked at them before. No longer do I treat people the way I treated them before, and I treated people great, but no longer do I let them uh infringe on my peace. And that's with going through the fire, with going through my adversities, forward, not backwards, and seeing it play out for what it really is. Like I said, your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons to get you to your blessings. And the only way you can get to your lessons is you have to go through your blessings. You have to go through your adversities, and we don't want to do. That's the hard part, but trust me, everything I've went through in my life shaped and molded me to who I am today, and I love me today. Before I told you, I had low self-esteem. I wanted to be wanted by people, didn't care about me, and used by people who didn't care about me. But now today, I love me. I don't let none of that happen. And everything that happens starts and ends with me. And like I said, you just have to live your life forward and let it play out. And whatever hand God has for you, if he give you lemons, make lemonade. He give you oranges, make orange juice. He give you flour, make some dumplings or a cake. Just do the right thing and everything else will work its way out. God makes no mistakes. This program is called TACC. Here it is right here again. Through adversity comes change, right? You got to go through it to get to it and know that God loves us all. And he loves us so much that he'll let us go with the devil if that's what we want to do. But just know that you have no part in his life in the next one. So like I said, it's about us going through our lives and understanding, embrace your journey. When you embrace your journey, you understand that, it's a process. Your adversities are the road to get to your blessings. You have to go through it. Like I say, you got two kids in the same house, mother and father. One went this way, one went that way. It's because the adversity shaped and molded them to the road that God wants them to be in, so that he can give them the blessing they need at the end of the road. It's not that deep. It's up to us. You know, it's up to us. It's how we live our lives. You know, I no longer live my life fancy free. I live my life righteous now. And I try to help as many people as I possibly can. That's the only way I can win. Is help everyone accept, achieve, and appreciate love. It's a beautiful thing, man. To be at peace, man. I'm telling you. I met one lady when I went to um therapy the other day, and she was at peace. She's like, yo, I know what you're talking about, brother. You know, and I felt her peace. You know, I can't wait till it's a bunch of us, 100,000 that's in peace. You know, that vibration is going to be crazy. But, you know, until then, I'm going to keep giving you guys this blessings that God have gave me so freely through my struggles, you know, and not made me bitter, and made me able to see life for what it is, and for people for who they are, and not hold grudges, you know, and live life peacefully. But like I tell you, you know, if nobody told you all the day they love you, I'm telling you. And know that, man, get your life right, get your spirit right, get your connection with God, and let's do this. You have no excuse. You got a book that help you to heal. You got a workbook that help you to heal. You got 8 modules that help you to heal on Gumroad. TACC, through adversity come change, all of them. You have no excuses. It's up to you now. TACC man out. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace.